Julius Shulman was born in Brooklyn in October of 1910 to Ukrainian Jewish parents. He grew up on a farm in Connecticut before moving to LA while he was still a boy. Through college, he made a hobby of taking portraits of his classmates, but he began his career as a photographer in 1936 when he was commissioned by architect Richard Neutra to photo some of his houses. He would continue his career as an architectural photographer until his death in 2009 at the age of 98. During Shulman's life in LA, he saw the city go through extreme periods of growth. When he moved there in 1920, the city had a population of about 577,000. By the time he died there in 2009, the city had a population of about 3.844 million. Through his long career, much of his photography focused on documenting that growth. With that being said, Shulman is perhaps best known for his photos of domestic life and mid-century residential architecture. Case study house number 22 is arguably his most famous picture, and for good reason. This photo of the Stahl House in Hollywood Hills was taken as a part of a long-running project to design efficient and affordable housing after the housing boom that followed World War II. It also exemplifies many of the techniques that Shulman is best known for. Like most of his work, this photo is in black and white. This allows the form and elements of the architecture itself to stand out. Another aspect of this image worth noting is the composition and lighting of the subject itself. As noted above, the house was a part of a project promoting affordable and efficient housing following World War II. Here, the Stahl House is shown to be a warm sanctuary of sorts, with the domestic leisure of these two women contrasting with the dark, bustling city below. The theme of domestic life and activities is once again visible in Shulman's photo of the Skinner house that was taken in 1959. On the outside, children play with their toys, but on the inside, a woman sits and reads. Although not visibly obstructive, there is a clear barrier between the two settings in this image. The outside is chaotic and crowded, but the inside gives a warm, calming feeling. While the photo's purpose is to show domestic life in the setting of modern home, Julius Shulman uses contrasting compositions and lighting to separate spaces that otherwise could easily blend together. The photo of Cliff May House also presents a scene of domestic life in the new, efficient, modern residential architectural style. While effective in that right, it also stands to demonstrate Shulman's deliberate composition in his photography. Although similarly to his other pictures that I have covered, this one may seem natural. It was carefully planned to fulfill its intended purpose of selling the architecture. The lower perspective through the foliage in the foreground gives the viewer the impression that we are getting a glimpse into a natural everyday scene, while also making the house itself a dominant factor in the image. In reality, the scene was staged by Julius Shulman, for the most creative control possible, even to the extent that the orange tree branches held in front of the camera are symbolic of the orange grove that once occupied the site on which this house was built. In conclusion, Julius Shulman's long life and career in photography and his use of composition and lighting, including the use of multiple exposures in crafting images like the one seen here, have been influential in development of architecture, architectural photography, and photography in general.